man, Swain, I can't wait. You've been promised to take me to Chuck E. Cheese for like a month now.
It's going to be so much fun. You know,
can we have pizza?
Yeah, man. We can have all the pizza you want.
Soda? Can we have ice cream?
What kind of soda do you want?
I want to drink Sprite, and then I want to take off all my clothes and dance with the guys on the stage, the robots.
No, taking off your clothes. You can dance on the stage, but nah.
Okay. Can I play shuffle? Are we there yet?
Yeah. Here, hold on. Here we go.
Okay. This doesn't look like Chuck E. Cheese.
I promise. It's just they're doing some renovations, so it looks a little weird.
Okay, that seems plausible. Wait, what is this?
Birds.
What?
We got to talk.
No. I'm not ready.
See that big intervention sign?
No, it says intervention in big letters. No, I'm not ready for an intervention.
Birds, it's me, Bones, your friend.
Hi, Bones, what are you doing here?
Swain and we decided to host an intervention because we need to talk to you. Just have a seat, okay?
Birds, just sit down, and we have some thoughts we want to share with you.
Can I hold on? I need to change my shader real quick.
No,
this is actually, Birds. This is exactly what we needed to talk to you about.
What? I just need to change my shader.
Your
take 2 seconds.
Shader selection when we're playing Crucible together is so embarrassing and so flagrantly bad.
It's
I can't
why
believe this.
We never play together. I kind of don't want to be seen with you.
I don't feel comfortable going into a party chat with friends of ours, with people who know the show, and then they inspect you and you have this green, neon, yellow, orange shader.
It's called Gassed and it's beautiful.
That's the thing. No one even knows what that shader is called.
Yeah, and another thing we have to talk about is just not using a shader. That's just egregious.
You can't do that. You can't go no shader with 4 different pieces of armor that aren't from the same set. It's just not going to work.
Okay. But what about Chalcedony?
You're saying words and no one knows what you're talking about.
No, it's beautiful. Okay, what about Chroma? I can wear Chroma, right?
You're the only person wearing
a little green over
Chroma
there. Get some orange on the arms. Some nice stompy blue legs.
Oh.
Hold on, I need to put in my future war cult.
Birds. Look at the sign. Look at the sign. It says intervention. Do you see that sign?
I'm not ready.
You need help.
I'm not ready. I need to be seen.
We're going to work through this, man. But right now, we have to record an episode.
Okay. No. You guys make a lot of good points. I think I'm going to be good for like a week, tops.
Just throw on bone marrow and we'll be done with this.
Okay, can we go to Chuck E. Cheese now?
Yeah, we can actually do that. That sounds fun. Yes. I'm down. I was hoping that would happen.
Yeah, I want some Sprite.
We recorded this at Chuck E. Cheese. Here we go.
We made them take our faith and fall upon their face. Our God will save us. So at the end of the day, in sleepless beds that we lay, the silent God that we pray. And maybe we were right. So what have I dreamed? What have I died? What if I can't say goodbye?
Live from Chuck E. Cheese in Glendale, California.
Yo, guys, I gotta go dance. They're playing my song right now.
All right, well, that was Birds. He is wearing an awful... took off his clothes. Okay, there he goes. And he's dancing with the animatronic robots, which has a surprisingly popular YouTube channel. If anyone didn't know that, Google Chuck E. Cheese on YouTube. Not pretty. This is Crucible Radio, the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. We got our pizza, we got our Sprite, we got a handful of tickets, and we're gonna go buy those sticky hands that you throw on the wall.
Oh, I can't wait to sidebar. I can't wait to talk about my actual birthday, which is happening next weekend. just you wait, guys.
It's gonna be everything we just described.
Yeah, except I am for sure going to throw a tantrum with chocolate just all over my face.
And pass out.
Yep.
So this is a big episode because if you're listening to this, what? You don't know that a patch came out? Are you insane? But it happened. And so, look, I'm your host, Bones. That's Birds, and that's Swain. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hello.
Swain.
Hi, Birds.
We're very, very on it tonight. We waited till Saturday night to record this one because we wanted to get some trials in, and I really wanted to get as much time playing as I could. And we've all been...
Oh boy, was it worth it.
Yeah, we've been grinding. I've been playing different classes. Swain has been figuring out exactly how Sunbreaker feels since the change. And
I don't have much variety, but...
hey, but it's important. Someone's got to play Sunbreaker. And
it's
just you.
We kind of want to do a few things tonight. We kind of want to go over the patch in general. Quick hit on all the patch notes. There's also a little bit of an update that happened today, which kind of changes things a little bit. It might change some of our opinions, and we'll kind of note that. We'll talk about the economy changes, some impressions, and some advice as to how to handle said patch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where do we begin? Well, let's do first impressions first.
All right. Bones, why don't you go first?
Oh boy, man. Yeah, so that happened and it launched.
How about Swain go first?
Oh man.
All right, I could take this. So, I was out of town all of last weekend. Kind of wasn't like connected to the internet all that much, but came back on Tuesday when the patch dropped, and it was oddly quiet that morning. kind of weird, but once it got patch notes drop, and I ended up being able to play later in the day, but I got to watch everybody's reactions on Twitter that afternoon. Kind of the knee-jerk first reactions to how things feel. Discoveries of certain things, and I was like, cool, this seems like a fun little patch to go into. I'm excited for tonight when I get to play. And we got together, did some private matches that night, and first impressions of it was boring. Did really no other way to say it. I liked how the primaries felt. Like, they felt strong. They felt like year one, but not too crazy where you're just like, Thorn, last word. They kind of just like, I feel like those felt ridiculous because they had like the exoticness still into them. Like Thorn was just like, you couldn't recover. Your screen was green for half of the match. So they kind of felt, yeah, and it had crazy range, but this kind of just feels different with the legendaries and all that, but they were strong. And the reason I thought it was kind of boring was simply because the special economy messed with how I liked playing Destiny a little. I like the feel of fusion rifles. I like the feel of like a really good sniper headshot, and that like triple down shotgun spree you get going as you like slide through a crowd of people. So being limited to having no special and these like really boring, not boring primary fights, because sometimes like you have other people playing with other different primaries, but it was just like all of our friends know what to use. So it was just IS Luna versus IS Luna. And it was like, all right, well, whoever strafed better or whoever shot, got more headshots was going to win this primary fight. And it was just like, all right, well, time to respawn and do that again, because I would get special and, I'd rather use the primary because it was good at that range. And I don't know, it was, first impressions were meh.
So my first impressions have been all over the place. First of all, I think we're going to talk about it a little bit, but the whole change to health regen perks was just like this weird thing that was just too distracting. And I was like, I don't want to have to think about that. I want to think about how my guns work now. I'm fairly positive on all the changes to weapons themselves, how they work, how they function. I like all of those changes, I think. I'm trying to think of one that I dislike.
Like the balance changes.
Yeah. Like how a hand cannon works versus how a pulse rifle works. The changes to high impact, to high caliber rounds. Smart, very smart.
In the air stuff, kind of a little bit.
Yeah, didn't just suddenly pull pulse rifles from the meta. They're still there. They just don't bother people as much. Hand cannons feel absolutely incredible to use. Incredible. They feel so snappy and sticky, and it is very satisfying to get a 3-tap. Like it is now a thing I very, very much enjoy. Even though IS Luna was already my favorite weapon, and I might be in a minority, but shotguns feel pretty okay. I kind of enjoy the snappiness without that movement penalty. I think that's a big thing. And yeah, the aim assist is taking some getting used to. There's definitely some shots I kind of, slide past and shoot their thigh instead of a full body shot, and I don't get a kill. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to really tighten up the aim. But I do like the snappiness of shotguns, and I don't think that's going to be the biggest problem. A lot of people have decided to write them out and say, well, they're gone, but I don't really think they are. And I was watching some DCS qualifiers today. Lots of shotguns. Lots of people still using consistent shotguns to great effectiveness. So the guns are all good. They were. They do feel like they're in a solid spot. I think the subclass changes were ones where I was like, I don't even know what any of that was. I have no idea where a lot of it came from. And then getting to the special ammo, I don't think it was the way to go. And I don't want to rant for like another 5 minutes.
I mean, we can get into special ammo when we get to
I'll let Birds
but
give his first impressions, but the way the special plays now, I don't think is bad. I don't think it's like, I'm not like, oh, I want to get more kills with special. That's not even it. It's more about how it feels. So I'll talk about that later. But Birds, what were your first impressions?
Okay, so like literally my first impression was I loaded into just like a clash match in the middle of the day. My initial impression was this is awesome because it was on Twilight Gap, and that's a map where there's a lot of strong sniping. There's a ton of work happening with shotguns. And it felt like there was just a little bit more room now. Like sixes are so chaotic, but now I felt like there were more positions that were available to me because, even if I wasn't running a sniper, I could jump up on top of the box and get a good position and challenge without just knowing there's 2 or 3 snipers staring at me, waiting for me to do it. And I think that in general in sixes, I think I like the changes. I agree with you, Bonesy, on the balance changes. They all seem fine. I love my hand cannons, and I love them even more now. But yeah, the special stuff is weird. I also say like I really enjoy sidearms. Trespasser is a delight to use, and I like that there's real space for them now. There's like an actual use case. But I also love shotguns, and it was so weird having to load every shotgun shell. Like, not only do I have to track down some special, like before I can use it, I've got to sit there and crouch, and I'm like trying to get my perks going to go a bit faster. But it just got to the point where it's like I'm doing all this, I'm out of the game trying to do all of it, where it's just like, who needs it? I'll just use a sidearm. I was having fun with fusions. I also thought it was interesting, Swain, sort of what you said, that when you play with people who know what they're doing, whether you're playing with your friends or you're playing trials or whatever, because the primary choice is now so important because you can't rely on your special, it puts so much more pressure on you to use a meta primary. There was a lot of times where, at least for me, like I kind of felt like just doing something goofy and like pulling out an auto rifle or something strange from my vault, but just feeling like obligated to rock the palindrome because it's so good that if 90% of my combat's going to be happening with it, I can't use anything less good than that, or I'm just like doing a disservice to my team. So
I mean, I'm not trying to knock that it's becoming a very heavy hand cannon meta. I just like you said, for me, playing Destiny involves having fun while doing this, and it was a very bland feeling just having all of these primary fights in like a custom match. So I don't know.
I like the primary fights. They're fun. It's just that if you are using a shotgun or a fusion or you're ready to do some work, you just have some more leeway with your primary. You can treat your primary as more of a special case. But I don't know. I do want to say overall, it feels like a very different game. And that alone for me, keeping me interested in playing Destiny.
100%.
Yeah, that just that aspect of it, I think, is cool. Just a shake it all up and do something different. I appreciate kind of no matter what it is.
So those were those were our first impressions. What exactly did they do? That's kind of the question here. What for someone that didn't read the patch notes or know what happened?
All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I didn't I've argued both sides of the case because I'm a devil's advocate weirdo, but I love the change to hand cannons with the damage drop off, landing shots that I know I can land at crazy ranges and seeing a 26 pop up, whatever. I don't care. That to me is just made me fall in love with my hand cannons, my AS and my palindrome so much. I don't know. That just seems like a really good. And if it means more people run hand cannons, so be it.
When we say that there's a return to year one in hand cannons, I think we're strictly talking accuracy, which does feel incredible, like I said. But I think it's kind of cool that they did really hone in the damage fall off. That was my major concern. I know people have heard me talk about this on Reddit and stuff, is that I don't believe the hand cannon should hit at scout rifle range. That's extensive. I don't want to say doesn't matter. I got a cleanup kill from the tower to the other side of Widow's Court. That seems insane for a hand cannon, because I'm not doing that. And I can't do it with an auto rifle. No one tries it with an auto rifle. But part of the meta game of hand cannons and why they are strong is because a high skill use of a hand cannon is getting that kill beyond max range. And that might involve landing 5 body shots for 41 damage or something like that. Yeah. And that comes from good strafing, good positioning, moving around in the middle of the fight using cover. And that's really cool to see people comfortably going I want to try to make this play because I can trust my gun to do that. And that's good. So yeah, hand cannons are a thumbs up from me. They did very smart changes with that.
I think the important thing is that if you're fighting a scout rifle user with a hand cannon at scout rifle ranges and you're both at full health and you both can aim, you should lose every time as the hand cannon user. But just having the option, like you say, to get that little bit of cleanup or just get a shot off, just, stop the regen, help your team out a bit. I don't know. I like it.
Make them, if they miss the shots and take advantage of that, you earned it. You landed 5 really hard to make shots that didn't do full damage. That's a good play.
So the one change that I really liked, was a small one, and it was something that I didn't really expect, was the reduce health of Guardians with armor values above 10. So they don't normally talk about armor values all that much, but it was cool to see them kind of put a tweak there where you have to sacrifice something. You're sacrificing your health to have good armor. So now's a good time to play around with your loadout, see how recovery feels, see how playing with agility might be a way to go right now. But not played with enough yet, so get in there.
Bonesy, did you have one? We kind of shared one.
Yeah, I mentioned I like shotguns. I think they're okay. Oh, yeah. I'm still surprised they did so much to them, but I don't think they nerfed them into the ground as they intended not to almost a month ago when they started talking about that. No longer than that, but whatever. I'm glad that Ophidian aspects aren't dead. They no longer ready weapons instantly, but there's a big handling boost thumbs up, great, want to keep that. And then plus you got the double arm perks of fast melee and grenade distance. So it's still my favorite Warlock exotic. And if you want any advice from me in this episode, is to keep wearing those. They're very good. And I was very scared that they'd like take away something and make me sad about them. But they're still very solid.
All right, let's roll our sleeves up. Let's get into this special economy stuff. And Bones, I want to hear your take on it, because I haven't heard it, but I sense there's deep thoughts bubbling
I've been
within you.
thinking about this all week. I've been thinking about it so much, and I want to be real clear to people that I'm not saying, oh, I want 15 kills with a Matador in my game. I love shotgun play. I think the big plays, the ones you want to save on your PlayStation, are when you get a breaker clip, and those involve special ammo a lot of the times. But so weapon spread, I think, is really good, at least in 6v6 and game types like that. So for example, you put up 25 kills in a game of Clash, great game. Maybe your KD's up there, 1.7, solid performance, and you might have 15 kills with your palindrome and 3 grenade kills and 3 super kills and a couple special weapon kills. That's fine. That's fine for me. If you want to try to use more special, you certainly can, but that's fine. So I don't mind that spread, and I think it's good that they've reduced that spread. My issue is the way that you now have to manage your special is tedious and unfun in terms of video game mechanics.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just gonna re-say this 4 fucking times. The reduction of special weapon kills in the Crucible across the board is good. I'm happy with that. But I think the concept of seeing a box that's 10 seconds, so you're going to stand and wait and then pick it up and then reload and then go and then you die and then, okay, it's all gone. So maybe I shouldn't have fucking stood there for half a minute because I could have been up there getting kills, fighting with my team.
The biggest thing I thought about this week, one of the biggest things I thought about this week was, oh, wait, crap, I don't have any sidearm reloading arms.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Can we say
Or
that? Yeah,
I don't have shotgun reloading arms.
shotgun reloading arms. That now that that's actually a priority.
It immediately took away all priority away from having to be able to reload a hand cannon fast.
Another pro tip, another little piece of Crucible radio advice: play Stormcaller, use Pulse Wave, and get some boots with Second Wind. So then when you spawn and there's a weapon box right there, you got Second Wind active, and you reload that shotgun real fast. And you get the Pulse Wave to reload real fast, Ophidian Aspect, boom. There you go. But I want to continue because this came up when they announced this and all the threads started theorizing and it got compared to Halo. Halo, you pick up the power weapons. You find the shotgun or the sniper or the rocket launcher on the map. So the gameplay is about map positioning and map control, and you want to control those special weapons. So you're not running around with all that ammo. You have to go get it. Yes, that does mirror Halo in this new change, but the difference for me is that in Halo, there is the sniper rifle. In Destiny, there is your sniper rifle. And it's weird that it's on you. You just can't use it. And I find that strange. And I find that the play to go get special doesn't have any sort of feeling of what a smart play we made to control this special box, especially in 6s. And even in Trials, it's kind of like it's not relevant. There's no fight over special ammo as far as we played for 3 tickets. It's a weird, tedious, unfun mechanic to have to spend any amount of time in the game not playing, but sort of hanging back and collecting stuff. And it's just how boxes work. It's how special boxes work. And it's why the heavy encounters in Destiny have never been all that fun for me. The change to 1 box in Trials was such a good change because it was a play. It was like a, yay, we did it. We controlled the heavy. It wasn't like a, well, I fucked up and went to the one they went to and died, or I just stood around for a little bit.
Or we ran to the other heavy and wipe
Yeah.
them before heavy spawns.
It's just about that movement, and I don't think you should stop, and I certainly don't think you should just feel like you wasted your time because you went up, you smartly said, okay, I picked up shotgun. You're not trying to run out with your shotgun as your primary. No memes allowed here. You went to go make a play with your primary in a scenario where you should have used your primary. You just happened to lose a duel. And then like the 40 seconds you spent collecting special was pointless and you wasted your time in that game. And yeah, maybe this game is about time management, but that just doesn't seem fun to me. So that's why this change to special is weird. The effect it has on the scorecard, great. Reducing the amount of special kills, absolutely what needed to happen.
And that whole like
the other process is there.
Yeah, the whole reducing of the ammo is exactly why you're seeing a shit ton of sidearms right now. Simply because no one wants to have to do that.
Yeah, well, not just
it's a time
sidearms,
saver.
but No Land Beyond and Icebreaker, and just like anything that just lets you skip that process. Yeah, just
it's
skip
a time saver. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, if all they did was just say, you pick up the special ammo box and your weapon is just loaded, like
if everyone got transversive steps.
Yeah, I mean, like even if it were just that would make I would start running a shotgun again, but I'm not personally confident enough in my ultimate shotgun warrior to say, okay, I'm going to sit here, load 5 shells and make this count.
There's definitely nothing worse than like you show up at this special ammo box and you're like, I think I'm good. And then you pull it and step back once and someone's hitting you with a primary while you're sitting there trying to reload like a shotgun.
Exactly.
And you're like, ugh. And by the time you stop and switch, you're dead. And you're like, wow, that was for nothing. I did that for nothing.
There's another thing that I kind of, maybe this is just like sentimental, but this was something I learned from Keen, which is if you go into an engagement and like, let's say you're going to use your primary because it's, it's suited for the range that you're engaging at, you keep shooting until you're out of bullets. Like, don't reload mid-fight. Keep shooting. And if you run out of primary ammo, switch to your special ammo and make it work. Go for that crazy drag shot with your sniper from 10 feet away. Like, burn through it. Like, this game is not about reloading your ammo. After the engagement's done, then it's your main priority. Find some cover, get to someplace safe, reload, get your life back. But there were so many times where I was just like in the thick of it and doing well. And I go to switch to my secondary and it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot to load my shotgun. Like that, actually happened tonight when we were playing. Just like I had you dead to right, Swain, except I forgot to crouch and reload my stupid shotgun first.
So I mean, we don't normally suggest any like changes because obviously we're all about adapting and doing our best for what we have.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys took away my shader, so I'm feeling cagey.
But I do think I don't know what, it's a simple fix. We don't know how everything works. But I think what would make me feel better, aside from, if they want to keep it this way and you just automatically, when you pick a box, it is loaded into your gun. You don't have to worry about hand loading it.
As far as requests go, yeah, that's not bad.
That's a start. Like, that would be good. But like, I think just having the bare minimum for a magazine, like 3, you spawn with 3, and anything you collected in that previous life is gone. You're just always going to spawn back to like the very bare minimum.
Yeah, you're just like your big play insurance money.
Like 3 bullets. It's like how you look. They would leave like a pirate on an island with a bullet, 1 bullet and a gun, and it's like, all right, here's a bottle of whiskey.
Himself from marauders. But I see where you're going with it. Okay.
So here's your 3 bullets to kill the other 3 people in this skirmish match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That just feels reasonable, and obviously it would take some changing to like some shotguns. The bare minimum needs to be turned down because like before the minimum for a pull for special ammo or a minimum to spawn in with was like 8.
Mm-hmm.
You get 8. like shotgun shots. So I think 3 is a very reasonable number for fusion rifles, for shotguns, for sniper rifles. Maybe not for sidearms. Sidearms obviously require a little bit more, but they're definitely in their own spot right now.
Well, there's one comment about sidearms that I've heard a lot, which is just like, oh, sidearms are the new meta. Sidearms are dominating.
I'm already tired of the meme of the hunter with all the wormwood for every part of his body.
Okay. But like, here's the thing. Sidearms are not the new meta because they're super good now. Sidearms didn't change. People are using them now because they're convenient in this economy. But I think like I like to have a sidearm for kind of that reason I was saying, because it's a backup to my primary. Like I run out of ammo and I switch to my sidearm and finish them off. But like the truth is, like if you're in a 1v1, like palindrome versus sidearm, and you're outside of shotgun range, basically, like that sidearm is not that dominant. Like a good palindrome player is going to hit you, you do that 3-tap and you're done. Whereas the sidearm, you're tap, tap, tap.
There's also a point Fallout had made about why shotguns won't disappear, is that because a good hand cannon user is already covering that niche, whatever, of where a
it's been
hand
a while
cannon.
since we did that one.
Just sneak that one in. But sidearms, hand cannons can fill the same role. Same goes with like the last word or something like that. So yeah, you're making a choice to use a sidearm. You're not going with like, yes, I've got the new Fellwinter's Lie of year 3.
Yeah.
Everyone hates me now. It's like, no, you got an okay weapon.
It's like, yeah, you also are a future war cult this week.
Yeah. Future war cult saw a significant uptick in new registrations.
But Birds and I agree that the Iron Wreath from year 2 Iron Banner,
that's the jam.
especially the roll that dropped for everyone like that first week of year 2, still the best sidearm.
Yeah. Like Wormwood's cool. I'll check it out. But yeah, the thing about that one that I think might turn some people off is that because it's silent, like I know for me, like it feels like it doesn't hit as hard as other sidearms in the archetype, and knowing that's like entirely psychological just because it's not as loud. It's just fut, 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 fut.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys got to play some trials this morning. How did you feel about special ammo in the elimination playlist?
Well, there's a whole other topic. It is definitely a wildly different game. Black Shield was this weekend.
I thought that was like an interesting choice for, because here's like with Black Shield, right? It's a good thing they put the overtime point outside, because they've like Black Shield, if you go inside and you get good control inside, you cannot be forced out without making an error of some kind. But you don't have any special crates in there. So it's like they picked a map that's like, okay, this is, we want to see exactly how well Icebreaker and No Land Beyond do in trials now by making a map that is the perfect incentive to use them if you want to play inside.
Yeah. So I do like No Land Beyond. I liked it before the patch.
So cool.
Can I repeat my joke from earlier, which is that I'm working on my new No Land Beyond sidearm loadout, which is just my sidearm.
Yeah. I'm
no good with it.
No Land Beyond. No, but I like that gun. It's crazy effective when you're getting flinched. You can snap some headshots when you are under fire. I ended up trying out a variety of things. I used Thorn. It was fun to use Thorn in trials and feel like it was good. But those 7 games or so, I had Thorn equipped. I had a shotgun equipped. I didn't fire a shotgun.
It doesn't seem relevant anymore.
No, I mean, I don't even understand. It was so weird, and that stands out to me. That stands out like a thing that's not good. I don't think that trials should be forever just primaries only, and then some supers once it gets down to that round. And supers have such a strong impact in trials. We all know that. Yeah. It's all the rage lately. But when there's no special, unless you're sitting back within like an event horizon, I don't know. It was either counter with another super or just run away. It was very strange.
I do want to point out one thing, which is that at least in my experience, it didn't seem like special was in very short supply in trials. I mean, at least on
Right.
like there's what, 4 special boxes there. I mean, it's just that, like you say, like when someone's coming in with a super and I haven't bothered to like run over, grab a special box and reload my shotgun, I now don't have a mechanism to shut down a super unless I make that choice to say we're not going to push for early position. Like all this stuff we've learned the hard way to do in trials, like that pure aggression. Now there's an incentive to do the opposite, which is like, this might go wrong, so let's hang back and get special. It just seems like, okay, there's a balance, but it's not really a choice I want to make. Also, when you get rezzed, you often get rezzed in the thick of it, and being able to like get rezzed with your shotgun and like know that, okay, the pressure's on, you're going to be disoriented, but you have some way out.
Just
versus
shoot in directions.
Yeah. Like you got something, like you can make something happen, but just, getting rezzed and guaranteed that you're going to be primary versus primary in the thick of it at best, or primary versus special at worst, or heavy at worst, I guess.
Swade, you'll like this. There was a play where I called for birds to come res me, and I saw the Titan floating way up in the sky, and I knew it was coming. And Birds gets the res right as this Fist of Havoc comes flying down. And of course, it murders him, and I survive because of invincibility frames. And all I did was jump straight up into the air and sidearm the guy down. And I was like, I knew that would work, and I'm so glad you trusted me, but I'm sorry I had to sacrifice you.
Hey, it's strategically for me, if I want to win, it's probably not a bad decision. No regrets.
It's like, I want to take a break for a second, so let me just die. And get your res.
It was literally like a tag team, like, your turn.
Exactly right. Yep.
I'm out.
Bonesy, anything else on trials from today?
Yeah, I don't know. It's all over the place, man. It's weird. I don't think I saw some stuff like Invective and Icebreaker making an impact really at all.
That's true.
Again,
we saw a fair number of icebreakers. I never got shot with an icebreaker.
Yeah. It wasn't just like oh damn it, that guy's using a manipulation with ammo that's just clearly an advantage over us with no special ammo. I didn't land enough no land beyond shots to say it was so overpowered. It was definitely nice, just because I like that loadout. Let's see, what else? Universal remote, none.
Mm-hmm.
The good point about those guns, and No Land Beyond is kind of really pushing it on the fringe because it is really good, is that Universal Remote, Invective, and Icebreaker are not good guns in their own right. They are not ideal. You can find a better longbow in terms of stats and the ability to shoot someone in the head, and you can find a better shotgun that will kill from farther away more effectively. So that's why those guns are okay to me. I'm not worried about everyone just using those.
I would like Fallout to update his shotgun range graphic to include Invective, just so we all know. I don't know if you can get close enough. Yeah.
But yeah, that was Trials. What a weird world we live in, guys.
Yeah. Let me reiterate, because like we are clearly on the fence at best about this. The fact that it's significantly different, we're all confused, everyone's kind of figuring it out, and even though we've got it figured out, we still don't have it figured out, and it's just like, for better or worse, it is a different game. Like I want to reiterate, I think that is unequivocally a good thing. I think that will carry Destiny through these last couple months until Destiny 2. I legit love my sidearms. I'm glad they're a thing.
I have a little bit of thoughts now, like later in the week. My thoughts have evolved from like the initial, like, this is kind of boring at first and kind of whatever. But so we were doing fours for our Patreon night with
so much fun.
Patrons. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. But lots of fun with different loadouts, and I don't think I ever felt like in that game mode I was running out of special. I almost always would spawn in and after dying, and it wouldn't be that far off, or I felt very comfortable just going forward and being like, all right, well, I don't want special, but my primary is strong enough right now that I can take care of it until special comes up. And maybe I got it every other box or every third box. But I definitely still got it. And I definitely still got to experience the fun that I had before with the fusion rifle. And I was kind of, it tested me to try out different loadouts that I didn't really fit before. It's definitely weird. I'm always thinking about short and long range for things, or defensive and aggressive. Those are just kind of my main focuses if I'm thinking about like what game mode I'm playing or what playstyle I want to do. My playstyle tends to lean a little bit more aggressive, especially for someone that uses fusion rifles so often. But during tonight's games, I was trying The Last Word and Saladin's Vigil as a combo. Simply because I wanted the up close if I was being aggressive, and I wanted the decent range of a Saladin's Vigil for being just outside of sidearm range. Because like I know if I can keep that steady and I can get a good shot off, I can hit someone further than they can like reliably hit me a bunch with a sidearm. So it felt good. It felt fun. And it's been the first time I used The Last Word in a long time. And it worked perfectly in those like very close situations where I was being aggressive, but I was like, all right, well, I know my primary can very easily handle this.
I want to make a bold claim. At least when I'm playing pubs, I think fusion rifles are really good right now.
What,
and
what
they've been
what
written
exactly,
off. Or someone said like people are like, oh, they're just they're not good
fusion's
now.
Dead now. Yeah.
They're dead. I'm like, I'm getting more special kills with fusion rifles than I am shotguns or snipers by a long shot.
Yeah, fusions are in a great place right now.
I agree. I think it's because if I'm positioning myself and I'm baiting people in, they don't have that really nice way to close the distance with a shotgun. And if I miss, my primary isn't too slow to really help me out. I don't know. I'm just hitting shots and it feels really good. I pulled the vacancy out of the vault trying to test everything. And I was like, I forgot that this is the sexiest gun I own.
Yeah.
It's so good. I've been playing great with them.
I got two more comments. One is that I think one thing people really feared, especially in trials, is that like scories and camping in the back was just going to dominate. I can safely say like, you know, like scories is scories. It's part of the game. Use it. It can be effective. I don't really think that was an issue. Like there was no camping going on here. It was all about position because you have to with your primary.
And we played a few rounds that did go to the cap point, but it didn't feel like we were like sitting around waiting for a super. It was just kind of a tense moment where it's like, okay, you know what? 30 seconds. Let's actually not try to push. Let's ditch our revive on the inside. Let's just try to play the point. And it was short enough with the shorter rounds to feel like that was a strategy rather than a do nothing for a long time.
I don't know how to put this because like it's very, very anecdotal, but I never really had much of a problem going against scories. And I'm going to catch so much shit for saying that, but it really never felt like I never got angry because of it. I was like, oh, they're using scories. Let's make sure we kill them quick or bait the super so that we can get rid of the guy that's charging the scories. It never felt like I was like, oh, crap, I lost because that team was camping. And albeit I'm no trials streamer, I do not spend 12 hours a weekend, or 12 hours every day during the weekend playing trials. So I don't have the volume to say that. But as like a very casual trials player, I never really had a problem with it. And I mostly want the change to scories so I can stop hearing about it.
I mean, well, like that's the thing about scories is that in order for scory to be like an effective team strategy, you have to stay real close with your team and wait. And that is so antithetical to the way that good players play that like unless unless some of those trial streamers say like, all right, we're going to play super boring because we want to have our supers so we can win. I don't know. I feel like the people for whom that is an appealing strategy are not your real competition on that trials ticket.
No names thrown around here, but there's definitely been some streamers that I've seen that have been like upset that the person that they were carrying to the lighthouse was using scories. And that don't seem fair.
the poor sap just trying to help out in any way they can. They're excited to play with you and they really want to like do good. And they're probably so self-conscious about their 1v1s and stuff. And they're like, but what if I give you super? And it's just like, no, screw you.
Why not be able to land shots on people?
Yeah, and it's just like it's just, you know, heartbreaking because some people aren't skilled at this game because either they've gotten much older and their motor skills are just not what they used to be, or they're just not playing video games all the time, and their mental game in this is not the same as someone who spends all weekend playing trials, but they're just trying to help and they're trying to learn, trying to have a good time. So
I mean that's why Mayhem is so popular, and yet
it really is.
No one I know ever plays Mayhem, myself included. When I play Mayhem, it's just like, well, and I guess this is the other thing I wanted to talk about is that the reduction in special usage overall has made your grenade and melee so much more important. And I will say there's not a lot of things that I'm very good at in Destiny. Like I'm okay at all the basics. You know, I've been doing the show long enough. I've certainly gotten a lot better. But I am really good with spike grenades. I know how to throw them. I know how to put them on that back wall so people back into them. And I don't know. I personally like love the addition there. The stickies, they start to grate on you over time.
But that's the same thing with you're good at spike grenades. I'm good at throwing stickies, and let me have my one thing.
True. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like if we're on the either side of a box and I'm going to jump up to put a spike behind you and you're going to jump up to try and get a sticky on me, like that's not an unfair fight. A lot of
times
I better land
die.
it perfectly.
I die when using stickies, so
yeah,
it's like I just want the trade.
I think like I noticed that too, especially on this trials map, is that I felt like it was an option to go open a door and peek for just a sec to put my smoke and my spike right where I know they needed to be, without knowing that statistically I'm just going to get headshot with a sniper instantly. Like there's just a little bit more wiggle room to go in, take a couple primary shots, but like make your move and then get out versus, a great Twitch player is just hard scoping that door and you're not getting through.
Okay, guys. Well, let's spend the last bit of this first segment talking about class changes, health changes, and then we'll answer some questions and give some advice. But first, we have a very special sponsor with us this week, and we need to hear a word from them.
Our sponsor this week is stamps.com. .com. So here's the thing. Like I go to the post office fairly frequently because I need to drop off a package.
Because you're an old man.
I just like the atmosphere. No, that's the thing. I don't like the atmosphere there. And like literally, like I live in LA, but I don't live in that part of LA. I'll go just in the middle of the day. I have never gone to the post office and not had to wait in line. Like everyone is going to the post office and we're all just standing there while an incredibly hardworking postal employee is just like trying to get through us all. Who needs it? Like you can put a letter in your mailbox, but if you need to ship a package and you're running a small business, you're a band and you're selling merch and you just got a lot of stuff to ship, it is exhausting to box it all up, get it perfect, and then drive to the post office and wait in line with your big stack of boxes and then buy postage for each of them as you weigh them. Who needs it?
I mean, you could get practically anything you want on demand nowadays. Like this podcast. You can listen to it whenever you want. That's convenient, right?
Yeah.
So
why can't you get stamps?
So why are you just going to the post office and dealing with their limited hours and the long lines and the people there and who's and the what's it, when you can get just postage on demand with stamps.com?
Yep. Anything you can do at the post office, you can do it right at your desk. You can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. And unlike the post office, stamps.com never closes, so you can get a postage whenever you need it, 24/7.
3 a.m. Print some postage.
Truth is, if you're running a small business, you need stamps.com. You know, we just did our Kells Angels Classic, and we put together a ton of prizes, ton of runner-up prizes. We had some control freaks. And like, we're getting some new merch. We're going to do a big run of stickers. And the thought of having to go to the post office to ship all of those out, it's not going to happen. Small businesses depend on stamps.com to send important letters and packages, and you should too.
So right now, there's a 4-week trial that you can get. Okay, this includes a postage and a digital scale. So don't wait on this. You can go to stamps.com and then you click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage. And guess what you type in? You type in Crucible. That's stamps.com.
Crucible.
Enter code Crucible, Crucible. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
Never.
All right. So I've never really talked much about the specifics of my job on the show before. I kind of like to keep it private, but I will tilt my hand a bit and say, I work in the tech industry and I'm responsible for getting software out the door. And when this patch dropped and we find out that the changes to Hungering Blade, so, you know, you don't get the instant health and shield recovery, you just get immediate health back, and people were pretty worried about that. And then we find out that that perk applies to not only Hungering Blade, but everything that does that regen, Red Death, Lifesteal, Transfusion, Cauterize, all of it. I gotta say, I know that feeling when you get the production push done. It's out the door. People are using it. You check it and it's like, this seems good. And then you just find out the depth to which you have fucked up. I have a lot of sympathy for just like the bricks that had to be shat when this was found out. But at the same time, like, oh, how could this make it out? How could they let this out the door with that? How did no one notice that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's rough.
So yeah, you've heard Hungering Blade was the intended change. And in fact, I don't even mind that change to Hungering Blade. I think people overreacted. And it makes sense with the new environment and primaries being the main way to take down a super.
Yeah, you can't do a shotgun melee to just shut down the
blade. No, you
blade.
cannot. But it also impacted Red Death and Lifesteal and Transfusion and Cauterize, which is real big for Sunbreakers. I noticed that heavily playing
Soros,
with it.
No backup plans, Ward of Dawn, Apotheosis Veil.
Not my Apotheosis Veil.
Yeah. There was a moment tonight where, Swain, you were going off with the Sunbreaker, and I think I got you, and you were like, yeah, if they hadn't changed Cauterize, you would be dead right now.
You're like, that's not going to happen a few weeks from now.
Yeah. I that was just tough to take because Sunbreaker was just so fragile in its position in the meta right now that it was just like that one small change was just like, it's what I had going for me. Like being able to use Cauterize to my advantage, being able to like throw a sticky and back off and be like, I'm going to have a bunch of health from that. And I'm immediately going to be back to full strength. Or when I'm going through a crowd with Sun Charge and it's like, yes, this will end everyone here. Like I will kill this one guy and get back any of the health I had taken away from me from team shots and just keep moving through them. And it was just like, all right, well, I hope they fix it.
Yeah. So we got the word today. There's a post on the Bungie forums. Cosmo posted, and there was a big quote from Josh Hamrick. They found it. They've got the bug. They're going to be making some changes. But what is interesting is that for Hungering Blade, Red Death, Lifesteal, and Transfusion and Cauterize, they are not reverting this change. For Transfusion and Cauterize, they're going to remove the cooldown, which, like, okay,
yay!
You better. I mean, yeah, Swain, you like that. But I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a strong Sunbreaker. I cannot remember the last time I shot more than 3 bullets out of Red Death before I changed off of it. But, like, Bonesy as a Warlock, like that, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this being a permanent change now?
I think that there are ways that getting a chunk of your health back immediately is kind of nice. And there are definitely moments. I remember even from very recently playing on Pantheon, and a Blade Dancer, pushes you and cuts one guy, and you're like, well, all that team firing went to nothing. Like, I kind of get that. I'm whatever. I think that the fact they're adding more health, if they do fix this, well, that's what we know so far. So if this podcast is 2 weeks from now incorrect, don't quote us on this, but they're adding 58% of the health you get back. So you'd get like a nice chunk. I think that's okay. And like Swain said, with Cauterize cooldown gone, I think Sunbreakers will have a very powerful roaming super, which, oh boy.
Just sun charge, and immediately after you hit every single person, you get 58% of your health back.
That will be a menace.
I fear the Swain train.
That will be a menace. It's whatever.
They did it, like I said, with that whole change, they are reverting back Suros, no backup plans, the Ward of Dawn, the Apotheosis fell, and Embrace the Void. Because I'm guessing that just didn't play well with
those. I can all support just reverting those. Not meant to be changed in the first place.
Yep.
It was interesting that their approach to this, though. They were kind of, I don't know how they felt about it, but it almost felt like, hey, you want to be part of the test team? Here you go. We messed something up. Time to test out what happens when you change something. Everybody, give us your feedback on it. Let us know. I mean, it was interesting. I kept thinking that was in the back of my mind all week. I was just like, you know what? I have some strong opinions about this, and I want to offer my feedback. And before I could even offer my feedback, they changed it. So we'll see. I like everything else. I'll wait until this next patch comes out, and I get the change to Cauterize, and I get the change, and I try it out and see how I feel, and then I give my opinion then.
The very least, I can say that I was entirely wrong last week when I said that I think this is probably going to be the last patch of Destiny. We've got this fix coming. We've got change to Scory in the works. So we hear. If you don't like the current meta, you don't like the current balance. At the very least, I can say I was completely wrong, and we're probably going to see some more stuff change too.
So can I just say one thing that I will forever be baffled about for all of year 3 of this first iteration of Destiny?
I'll allow it.
What did Blink ever do to you?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing was, like, before we got very specific patch notes, everybody saw the change to Blink. Well, not everybody saw the change to Hungering Blade, and they're like, oh, okay, that's different. And then they saw, like, someone pulled the footage and saw that Blink had that entire, like, shutdown of your HUD. And they were like, oh, that's worrisome. And then everyone started speculating that there was going to be some positive changes to Blade Dancer. And everybody's like, all right, cool. Like, there's got to be something. They're doing all these reworks. There's got to be, like, a give-take situation here. And I think that's what made the fact that there was this huge bug within it even worse, because everybody built themselves up for like some sort of like give take situation, and it was massive take, not much give at all. It was like, oh, we're taking away from Blade Dancer, but we're also taking away from every other class in the game.
Yeah.
The reason we stay sane at all is because we understand that there's two sides to everything, and I totally get this. So there's parts of me that are just like, you got to give me some sort of number. Like what's up with Blink? Because I play at a moderately high level against people in competitive clans, and I'm like, I don't see any of them blinking. I see a real crafty Blink because he can do that and stomp on us. But where there's no Blink in tournaments, and I'm just like, what? Where's it go? What's going on? But at the same time, you show someone graphs like they did a while back in the TWAB, and everyone's just like, I assume this is all the knowledge you have. So where's the, like, you? Why are you basing it off of one graph? And it's like, all right,
Yeah.
we can't win there.
Yeah, no, I can see why Bungie does not want to go back to the way Blink was in year one when everyone raid Blade Dancer. And also that it's just like, it is a difficult mechanic, extremely difficult for low skill players to play against, because you just learning to make those predictions is tough. I don't know. Hey, at least Blade Dancers have flux grenades. Like,
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, and they're a more valuable choice than ever. I mean, everyone likes their Shinobus.
I mean,
but,
at least you have the ability to blink.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I like don't feel super bad that you don't have blink on your Titan as well as skate, but I feel
just silly.
Okay.
It's definitely tough. It's gonna be some wait and see moments coming up, and we'll see what else they change, because I'm assuming that this will not be all we're gonna see.
Well, this is still Crucible Radio, the show for all things Destiny PvP, and we would be remiss as your loyal podcast hosts if all we did was like give our hot takes on this.
Hottest of takes.
Oh, so spicy hot. We want to give you some advice. For better or worse, this is the meta we have that we're figuring out. This is the balance. And if you're in this world and you want to do well, there are some things you can do to improve. Can we do one each? One piece of advice that is appropriate to this new world, what we be living in?
Yeah, adapting to the new meta. I'm down.
How do you adapt to the new meta? That's basically.
I got one. We went up against a team today in trials, and I think in terms of raw gun skill, it wasn't an unfair match. Like they were good for sure, but we were both teams were clearly just rushing outside, and they consistently beat us. And the reason why, I mean, we're all just using primaries. No one had icebreaker or anything. The reason why is that their positioning was so strong that not only were they immediately rushing outside, they were going to different places. So you had one guy set up right next to the building looking through the tunnel. You had one guy on the top of ramp, and then you had another guy on the ground right at the bottom of the ramp, and they had all of their angles covered. You know, we're still just doing primary battles. The positioning and just the understanding in the group of not only what is a good position, so high ground, get your high ground. High ground is good.
Don't try it.
Yeah. But that they had worked out as a team who was going to do what, who was going to cover what angle. It wasn't just, all right, we're going inside or we're going outside. But their positioning was so on point. Whether you're playing with a team or you're playing solo, if you can position well, if you can cut off the angles you get shot from and get advantageous head glitches and higher ground on your opponents, that is going to give you a huge edge in a primary versus primary battle.
Primaries, especially if everyone's running hand cannons, it really comes down to who got the first shot. And if you could take advantage of your positioning and where you are at on the map to either get somewhere first or take that first shot on an enemy, that massively improves your chances.
I mean, that's first shot too. Like that is something people can work on in a concrete way. The trick to getting that first shot is being aimed first and pulling the trigger first. And so another thing you can do is you're making call outs with your team so you know where the enemies are. And you're also pre-aiming. You know where they're going to pop out. You might not be scoped. You might just be, sort of hip fire ready. But that you can get that first shot off because you know where they're going to be while they're still looking for you. I mean, that just requires an upgrade in your awareness. So yeah, upgrade your awareness.
Upgrade, baby.
So my piece of advice here will be to not get caught up in a silly loadout if you want to win. The whole point of winning and wanting to win is to use everything that is good and everything that is you are good at to win.
Mm-hmm.
No, take no prisoners. You are going to use whatever gets you the win at the end of the day.
And then you're not going to say sorry about it.
You will not apologize for said choices.
That was the first line I wrote when I was recording Rise Up. I said, use whatever's going to get you to win by the end of the day. And then when you do, don't say sorry about it. But that didn't work as well. So I changed it to use whatever, don't apologize.
use what's better, don't apologize. But that seemed a little narrow.
Yeah.
But for real, do not get caught up in some weird moral high ground.
Don't try it.
Some moral high ground here where you feel like you don't want to use a sidearm or you don't want to use a hand cannon simply because that's what everybody uses and that's what that's just lame. There's plenty of things out there that still work if you can make them work in your loadout. And if you want to play and have fun, I have very successfully had fun with a slightly off meta loadout. You just got to know your limitations and know when it's time to either choose something else or communicate to your team the better way to play around what you're using.
Yep. I mean, and this is not a mandate that you use double fusions, palindrome, and a sidearm. It's about
scories.
And scories. It's about getting an edge. And so if you just can't do work, period, with a hand cannon, but you're great with pulse rifles, use a pulse rifle. Just use a good pulse rifle and use one that's well suited to the situation, the type of engagements that you're in. Don't leave an edge on the table when it's about winning.
And if you don't know the best pulse rifle you have, tweet your roll at me. I'll let you know.
Yeah, pretty much the entire thinking is you need to get the edge on the opponent, whether that's the first shot, that is using something that's, very comfortable in your hands and is very powerful. You need the edge in this fight.
Okay, I have for my piece of advice is actually a drill that people should work on this week. And I actually usually advise against this, or I would never suggest this. I suggest the opposite for people who are trying to improve and they're kind of stuck in a rut or they're following bad habits. But Birds and I played Real Crafty in Trials this weekend. We knew how it was going to go, but we spawned in, we laughed, and we said, all right, same thing, man, same thing. We are not going to suddenly cower in the corner. We are not suddenly equipping 3 scories. We are not suddenly going triple no land beyonds. We said same thing. We lost, but the reason we lost was because we didn't have as much time as we thought we had. In every sort of scenario, there was less time because Crafty and I forget his teammate, I want to give him a shout out, but it was another guy from Bomb Squad Kittens. They don't waste time. They make the engagements happen on their time. Good players want the game to happen on their time. So if you think, we just had situations where it was like, I got a couple picks. There were some good plays, but we just were slow to push that last guy. Like we didn't charge. We sort of went, all right, let's see what he's going to do. And now let's all move now that we've communicated that. Like, it's just got to happen. Or we thought we had a res and we're like, all right, I'll get your res. Just give me a second. I'm getting there. I'm reloading. You don't have time. So my drill for everyone this week is you can do this in 6s, whatever. Just do it in pubs where your KD doesn't matter. Try to play as fast as you can. Try to shoot a snipe that you normally take a few seconds. You normally wait for them to peek. Just shoot every shot you can. Switch to your secondary and fire a sniper, even if you didn't aim before scoping in. And jump aggressively and get on top of people with your sidearms and try to spam a hand cannon shot and turn around and sidearm the other guy. Play fast and try to play aggressive and try to just keep your head on an insane swivel. Like you're just spinning around. Everywhere you look, go play that guy and try to react fast and try to make the game happen at your speed instead of playing reactionary to what people are doing to you. Well, and then, of course, this is not a thing you should do forever, but I want people to actually report back to me if they can test this out, see how it feels, or let me know if this is hard and what you're struggling with it. And then in a week, we'll talk about why that helps and how you can then do the opposite to develop other good habits. But play fast, man. Make the game happen at your speed.
A little advice for something I've been recently doing, and that's I picked up the Queensbreaker's bow, and that gun is weird. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's just weird. It's a charging sniper rifle, and any 1v1 against another sniper rifle, you'll probably lose simply because they don't have to charge their sniper rifle to shoot it at you. But to compensate for that, it's got some crazy aim assist, and it's just like a very weird gun.
And like my favorite sniper optics in the game, period.
Yeah. And something I started doing with it is just not caring. Stop caring about certain aspects, like how well am I doing in this Trials game. I was just simply focusing on pushing the limits of this sniper rifle to its max by being silly, jumping around, going for shots that like I don't know if it's ever going to hit. But doing that started building like a thought process in my head of like, I'm going to go for this shot, but it may miss this time. But when I do hit it, I'll remember why I hit that headshot. You know, in the air, am I just like aiming a little bit too high, or like do I have to like put my reticle a little bit above them to hit the headshot? So building those like functions and building those just like muscle memory of how you're hitting something crazy will just keep building and building, and eventually you'll just be always doing that.
I've mentioned this on the show, I can give a very small piece of advice. I played a ton of Titanfall 2 and I'm still playing it. And that game is super duper fast, where the loop of engage, disengage, reposition, make a plan, go decide to do it again, and just keep going, keep moving, don't stop. It forced me to think and process faster there. And I immediately noticed it when I came back to Destiny, where I was now slowed down by my character, and I felt like just my mental processing speed got upgraded. And also I need more people to play pilots versus pilots in Titanfall 2 because the playlist is getting a little bit thin. So if you want to hop over and play with me, let me know.
Birds is a new meta. Get over here.
Yeah, I know. But other faster games that work on something compared to Destiny, which is relatively slower as far as time to kill and movement goes, can really sort of shock you out of some old habits of, you know, sitting and waiting and looking, and then sitting, waiting, and looking again. All right, guys, this is an extremely long episode so far. Yes, it is. I hope you've enjoyed it. But there is more to come. We have got an interview that I'm excited about. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you. This is extremely apropos, and you're going to hear a lot more about it in the coming weeks. But we're going to get it straight from the source tonight. So stay tuned for our interview with Mr. Farcog and Soulbits.
Got a problem here.
We got more music this week from my new favorite band, Waltz for Venus. Check them out. It's waltzforvenus.com. Crucible Radio listeners, I need some tunes to play. I want to hear what you got. I know you got bands, you got electronic music, you've got orchestral arrangements. Send them over. I want to hear them all. I want to play them on the show. You just got to send an email. It's crucibleradio@gmail.com.
If I can reach the sky, the clouds fall beneath me. A silhouette of a man in the sun. And I may never return again. These wings are turning to dust. We jump, we shout, we can't live without the word, can't live.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. I have to say, if you have ever played competitive Destiny, if you've ever done scrims, if you've ever watched a tournament, you know this guy's name. He's been there since the beginning. Farcog, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, glad to be here.
Been a long time coming, man.
I know, right? I've been wanting to come on the show for so long now. I'm glad we're finally doing it, though. And what better time right before one of our biggest events ever, DCS. So yeah, my name's Farcog, or Farcognitions, or you can just call me Eric. And I'm actually here with my partner in PvP Legends, David, or he goes by the alias Soulbits, if you want to say hi, David.
Hey, guys. Yeah, of course.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast.
Glad to have you. All right, we're going to talk all about DCS. Really excited for this collaboration we got going. But before we get there, you are kind of a seminal figure in the Destiny world. Tell us just a little bit about sort of your history in gaming and your history in Destiny.
I have kind of a cliche story where my love for gaming. Well, if I went
GoldenEye, N64.
Oh, actually, yeah, that is
GoldenEye.
true. Yeah.
Yes! I got it.
I mean, I'm 30 years old, so I mean, I actually started originally when I was just a wee lad. I started on Wolfenstein and Doom for PC using a keyboard, not keyboard and mouse, just keyboard. That's where I started way back when. Then I think I got a Sega Genesis at some point. Had a Nintendo. But my real love for gaming, yes, GoldenEye, but really Halo. When Halo came out, and I actually started on Halo 2. So when I saw that online competitive shooter, and I could see like how competitive you can get, how precise the aiming is, and the strategies with your team. That's when I really, really fell in love with gaming. In terms of me starting tournaments or competitive for Destiny, we've been doing it now for about a year and a half. And our first event, I'd say our first official big event was between December 2015 and January 2016. Do you guys remember that one? That was, I think BSK is the one that actually won that.
I do remember some of the early tournaments, and I remember having Luminosity on after one of their big wins. But I remember once I started watching those and when they were really blowing up, just like the insanity of these guys spending all day, because these things took all day because we were using the old school matchmaking trick, and just like the intensity of like, oh man, they've been playing for 9 hours. So when they finally win, and they're all just exhausted and stuff. I just remember that energy just being so raw and insane. And I was just this is the best.
It was definitely raw, because to expect people to play competitive without private matches, and then to play that many games in a row, you had to have a passion for it to do it. But the big reason, one of the main reasons I started, was because I just liked watching competitive Destiny myself. And I saw people like We're Bulletproof, Pashi playing Sweats.
So was that where you first got involved, was just by watching and being in their streams, or did you scrim with them yourselves, kind of like wedge your way in?
I'd say it more so was from watching, but then I did start playing it myself first. Became friends with a few of them. Like I knew the guys in Void way back when, because I started off on Xbox. If you guys remember Void Clan.
Yep.
The original.
It had players like Murdaro in there. A lot of people came from Xbox. People don't know that. But yeah, so I started playing myself. But the main reason that I decided to organize the tournament was because I wanted to see what it would be like for the best player on PlayStation to play the best players on Xbox. Particularly Luminosity. I wanted to see what would happen when Luminosity played Pashi. So, and I saw nobody else was setting that up, so I just wanted to set it up so I could watch it. Like that, as simple as that. This
is a selfish endeavor. You just wanted to watch good games.
Definitely. So I started, back then just so I could watch it. And then the first one we did, we had a huge response. Like, I think we had over 2,000 players in our first event. So yeah, we realized we're like, wow, there's so many people that are interested. We were like, okay, I guess we have to do, a series of qualifiers to weed some of them out. So we started off doing qualifiers right away. And yeah, ever since then, I realized that there's a big need for it.
Well, I wanted to ask, I would say even for people who have never watched a tournament before, most people who have, been on Destiny Reddit, have had some experience with the sweat rules, that sort of first competitive rule set. Tell me, and that's one that's always kind of had your name attached to it. Tell me a little bit sort of about the evolution of these rules over time. I mean, the earliest tournaments didn't have sort of a lot of the restrictions that we've seen, and these have sort of been added over time as the meta's developed, as the balance has developed. Can you sort of walk me through how we got to our current rule set today?
Definitely. That's definitely a question I get asked a lot. And I'm going to open this off with I'd like to call it the mission statement that I have for making rules. The way we make rules is we like to keep Destiny as much of the game that Bungie intended Destiny to be, but without sacrificing growth of the competitive community. So essentially what I'm saying is we directly cater to the competitive community. Bungie doesn't cater directly to the competitive community. They cater to the general community. So that's pretty much how these rules came into place, because the game is not made for just one, niche area of the game. So it started off, yes, with not that many rules. And I think that's mostly because people didn't really, realize all the exploits that there were, because competitive was so new. But over time, we, after discussing things with everyone, we really just saw that if you just make this slight little change, the game could be that much better for competitive. For example, Luck in the Chamber. So that removes guns like Hawk Moon or, Ice Lunar or shotguns with Luck in the Chamber. That's purely RNG. The reason we remove that is you don't want to be in a primary fight and have it based off of luck. So a little tweak like that, we feel just makes it a lot more fun, a lot more exciting.
Sure.
So the way the actual structure of the rules, though, came about. Okay, so really there were rules before me, like just rules amongst the players. They started to form their own rules. Like Pashi and Luminosity would get together and be like, okay, hey, this gun, like the Plan C, or what was that other fusion rifle that there was?
The Pocket Infinity.
The Pocket Infinity, yes.
Still a nightmare.
Honestly, I think the Pocket Infinity was like the first official rule. I'm almost positive it was. Like, no Pocket Infinity, because that thing used to be crazy. But yeah, they had the rules amongst each other. And, and realizing that those guys really do have control over the whole competitive community. It's not me. Maybe I have more control now. But back then, you have to go by with what these guys are doing. If you're going to try to run an event and this is what these guys play with, you can't say, okay, I'm not going to use those rules. They're just going to be like, no, this is how we play it, So once I realized that, I was like, okay, there needs to be rules. There definitely needs to be rules, but how do I go about it? So when I do something like this, I try to always keep it as fair as possible, as objective as possible. So I decided to create, and it's kind of a funny name, but I decided to create what's called the Sweat Council. and base rulemaking off of democracy, really. So we would pick the best players, the top players, and invite them into the Sweat Council, and then have them vote whether they wanted something or not. And that's pretty much the gist of the Sweat Council, of how it works.
It sounds like a bunch of old men in a sauna just discussing business, and they're soaking wet and really hot, but still smoking cigars somehow. Like it's worth it.
Close the door, kid. You're letting out all the steam.
Yeah, one thing about the rules that I remember when the three of us started getting interested in it, played our own sweats, and really experienced it, is like it really is a different game mode, and I love that. And I love that I can go play trials and I can use my Frosties and a Luck in the Chamber IS Luna and go nuts and get those awesome 112 damage headshots for the 2-tap and stuff like that. But then I can also go into sweats and play an entirely different game that is as fun, because it is about those pure 1v1s and stuff like that, and duels where you are just everyone playing on a level playing field. And it's just, I mean, everyone has opinions on the rules, and sometimes you like some more than other, but you got to admit that it's a fun, very interesting way to play the game, and especially to watch the game from a fan perspective. All right, man. Well, let's talk about this. DCS is the newest project. It is the biggest project anyone in this community has undertaken, arguably, and it's going to be running for a while, and we're going to be covering it here on the show as well as in other places. Talk to us about this. What is going on?
It's 3 components. You have the ladder at the bottom. Essentially what it is it's like game battles or ESL play or Bungie's integrated matchmaking system. It's a way for people to play at any time, no matter what time of day it is. You just, you get your team of 4 and then you queue up. And if another team is ready to play, then you play them. The great thing about it, which separates it from things like ESL play or game battles, is it's all regulated under the official competitive rule set. So that's the component at the bottom, and that's called the ladder. There's 5 ranks in the ladder system: bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. So that's the ladder division, where your beginners or casuals are. The second division is the Challenger division. That's composed of 32 teams. And then you have the top division, which is the Champions division. And that's what we were talking about before. That's where most of the advertising, the spotlighting is going to be on these 16 teams that are in the Champions. It's a round robin style format, meaning like our tournaments that we've always run prior to this were all single elimination brackets. So if you lost in the first round, you're out. That's it, and it's just like, oh, it's sad. If you're in either the Challenger or the Champions division with that round robin format, you get to play every team one time for the whole season. And then at the end of the season, it's whoever has the best win-loss ratio that gets to move on to our elimination bracket, which is the money match. It's we have a Challenger Cup at the end of the season for the Challenger tier, and then we have a Champions Cup at the end of the season for the Champions tier. So the Champions tier is going to have your teams like BSK, IAM, Primal, all those great players. The great thing about it, from an audience perspective, is you'll know exactly the schedule for the next few months. So you'll know like a month from now, BSK is going to be playing IAM on this specific date at this specific time. So you can plan your schedule around that and make sure that you're there to watch it. So we think people are going to have huge numbers on Twitch for this. And it's going to create a buildup and hype over time. As like David mentioned earlier, the problem that we were having prior is seemed like there was no hype for tournaments. And if you lost, then there's another one next week. And not only that, from an audience perspective or a fan's perspective, it's hard to even be a fan because Luminasu could be playing with BSK one week, and then the next week he's playing with his arch rivals on IAM now. So it's like, who do you root for? It's like IAM, and then they even went as far as calling their team IAM BSK. It's like, come on, from a fan's perspective, that's like
So that's something I'm really interested to see develop here. I mean, there's a couple big name teams that everybody knows, and there's a couple standout players who sort of float around. I think once we have this sort of champion series of these great players, we're going to find out a lot of people who are great at Destiny, who've been doing well in tournaments, but they just don't have that sort of identity that builds up when you have week after week after week coverage. So I'm excited to learn who the next BSK is, who the next Lumi is going to be. Maybe it's Lumi and BSK. So this is actually where Crucible Radio comes in. We're going to be recording every other week, essentially your coverage, your sports center, your cliff notes to what's been going on in this scene. As we start to see these matches happen, as we see meta develop, we see what teams do well against other teams, the rivalries and the clutch plays and the real tough beats. We're going to be covering that all here on the show. We're actually working with friend of the show, Fallout. He's going to be focusing on some of the biggest plays of the week. And together, in addition to having the coverage here, we're going to have a video segment that we produce with DCS and PvP Legends, covering all this. So even if you can't watch every match, you can still stay in touch all season and really see what's happening here at this highest level of play.
Yeah, you can get essentially it'll be the place to get the summary of what happened those past 2 weeks. And believe me, there will be a lot of content to cover. As opposed to how the format was in the past, like I said, it was just all over the place. You don't know who you're rooting for, what's going on. Now, this really creates a narrative, a storyline for competitive Destiny. There's going to be so much stuff to talk about. So I'm really excited that you guys are going to be covering that.
So let's say I change my entire policy and start publicly competing Destiny on stream. I've got some people I want to play with. Tell me, how do I get involved? What do I need to do? How do I get into this thing?
Solbits, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So first of all, the foundations. Every single tournament that we have hosted on Butterfly, we have all that information stored in a system. So we know for sure right now how are those rankings looking. Who's the top player, who's the top 10. And the system will just have a refresh. We want to refresh that database with all that information to see who's still active, what is the new names on the scene, and which teams stick together. to do that, we're going to run 2 qualifiers, which the first one is going to happen this Saturday, and the second qualifier is going to happen next Saturday. From those qualifiers, from each one, we will pick 12 different teams. From those teams, they will reach the finals qualifier. There are going to be 8 teams invited that we know for sure that they are highly ranked, and they will just take part of that final. So that finals is really important because it's not only the fact of being placed on a higher rank, but actually winning that tournament is actually a reflection of what's probably going to happen on the season. That's for right now. Like if you want to start right now, the qualifier is really important for you. Being you placed on the ladder or in the challengers or the champions tier. We keep the information in our system. So if you have never, for example, played in the open weekly tournaments we have, you don't have any specific ranking into the system, you will get it from playing the qualifiers, and you will keep part of that ranking into the ladder if you fall into the ladder.
Yeah, so essentially what the qualifiers are that they're placements. They decide where you're going to be placed in DCS. Are you going to get placed at the bottom in the ladder? Are you going to get placed in the middle tier, which is called the challenger tier? Or are you going to get placed at the top level with guys like BSK? Most likely they'll be there. So where will you get placed? So that's the reason for the qualifiers. And just to talk about again what David said, we have 8 teams based off our database, our statistics from our prior tournaments that we've done. We've gathered 8 teams that get to skip the first 2 qualifiers, and they get to go directly into the qualifier finals. So they still have to play in the qualifiers themselves, but they get to skip the first and second qualifier and go right into that qualifier finals.
How are the teams structured? If I want to put together a team, what do I need to do? And what gear should we start practicing with? What are some of the rules we should start preparing for?
The first major thing is you need to have 6 players on your team in order to sign up. You're required to have 6. The reason I say 6, it is 4v4. It's 4v4, right? But you're required to have minimum 2 subs. You can have a maximum of 3 subs, but because this is a season type format, we just know from prior experience, even in our smaller events, that having substitutes are usually going to be needed, especially in an event that lasts a few months long. So the first thing you need to know is have 6 players in your team minimum. You could have 7 max. Make sure that every person that you have on your team uses a different subclass, because that's another major rule. So for example, you can't have 2 Night Stalkers on your team. Everybody has to be a unique subclass. That, and then you definitely, if you're not familiar with sweats, you definitely want to read our updated official rule set, because that'll tell you all the weapons that are banned. It'll tell you another important thing to know is armor. And we actually had Fallout made a nice little graph for this. But you cannot have higher than 7 armor or 8 recovery. And with Fallout's graph, it'll show you exactly how to set up your character, so you're not breaking that rule. When you look at the rules page, you might think it's a lot of rules. It looks a little complicated. It's really not that many rules. We just had to be very descriptive with it. If anybody's familiar with, writing stuff that can be disputed all the time, you have to make it specific.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Don't know anything about that.
Yeah. They're really not that complicated, but it is. We not only advise you to read the rules, it is required that you read the rules. So just take like a minute out of your day, read the rules, and you'll be good.
All right, so I've got my team. We've got our subs. We've read the rules. We're ready to compete. Tell me about the qualifiers. What's the game we're playing? What's the format? What maps are we playing on? How does that work?
So the most important part is 4v4. You will be using a system, Butterfly, that pretty much, you will go there, sign up your team. You'll, invite other people to your team form. Now that is formed, you will join the tournament. Once you're joined, you're just waiting for the bracket. You're just waiting for who I'm playing next. All right, I'm going to play.
This is very important. So for when you go to Battlefy to sign up, you need to make sure you have the minimum of 4 to even access the tournament. Once you get all your players, your minimum of 4, which you need to actually have 6. Otherwise, we're going to find your team and we're just going to disqualify you. So once you have your 6, you need to actually click this button saying join tournament. This is a big problem we have. And right now I even see on there's 35 or 40 teams that signed up and probably think they're signed up, but they never clicked join tournament. So you need to make sure you hit that button. Very important. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, that's a really use case there. People get confused when they are invited to a team. They think that they are actually in the tournament, but they haven't joined the tournament. So when the tournament starts, they just come to the score and say, "Hey, Farcook, why you left me out?" It's like, you didn't join. So that's the really most important part. Join the tournament. After joining the tournament, we will do our magic. We'll shuffle everything down and we'll bring the bracket. So the bracket is going to be online. It's going to be there. It's going to tell you who are you playing next, or who are you playing right now. There is going to be 30 minutes before setting up each match, which is sort of a manual process. Like you will have to, send a message to the other captain. It's like, all right, I'm playing you next. Join me. And once that manual process is done, you will play different 3 modes. Actually, we're playing Sun Control, which is really strategic. Clash, the traditional let's kill everyone that is in front of us. And the second one,
my favorite,
many people favorite, and the other one, which is supremacy, is more of fall back and play different lines and whatnot. So those are the 3 most.
It's all about them crests,
exactly,
baby.
Exactly. Like this is really, really exciting. Those are the 3 main modes. Why those 3? Because they play different roles. Like a traditional clash is like how are you're doing with one-on-ones. Playing Sun Control is how's your team communication, and supremacy is like how are you actually reading the map and how are you sticking together with the team. That's why those 3 modes are really important.
Let me run through the maps real quick for you guys too. So the maps, there's 7 maps. I know there's a lot more maps in Destiny, but from all the testing that everybody's done, the entire community, including the Sweat Council, we've decided that 7 maps work in competitive, especially in 4s.
So no Bastion.
No Bastion. No.
Okay. All right. No First Light. All right. Okay. All right. Fine.
Not
Fine.
even close, Stones. So let me run through the maps. Okay. So we have Anomaly. We have Asylum. We have Burning Shrine. We have the Cauldron, Exodus Blue, Twilight Gap, and Rusted Lands.
Can you go through that list again? But after each one, I'll just say classic.
Yeah, right. Are all those maps they're all from Classic, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got a little Dark Below in there with Cauldron, I think.
And Exodus Blue took a second to get over to Xbox.
Yeah, that's right. It was on PS4. Okay, guys. Well, we are personally very excited to start covering this. Bi-weekly on this show, you'll be hearing an update, what the best teams are doing, who's dominating the championships, who is climbing up the ladder, who is going to give BSK and IM a run for their money. And you guys will be running the show week after week. And we're really excited to see this come together.
Oh, yeah. I am. I can't say it enough. I'm so pumped, not just to organize this event or be involved, behind the scenes, but to be just like the rest of the audience members, just to sit back and watch these games. If I can't watch them live, then you best believe I'm watching it when it's over.
Well, and we know that you started this entire thing just so that you can watch
Exactly.
the good game. So this is making a lot of sense.
It's a true story.
Okay, guys. So if they want to find more information, if they want to watch the games, if they want to follow you guys and see what's happening, where can people find you on the internet?
We have everything in one central place, and that is pvplegends.com. pvplegends.com. You can find everything from the rules, registrations there to sign up. You can see our trailer videos. There's news articles. Everything is just easy, centralized in that one place. This event is 100% free, and our goal is to always keep whatever whatever tournaments we're running, whatever competitive event we're running, we want to always keep it 100% free for the players. Another important thing to say is that we separated the regions for this. So otherwise, it's the same thing as Luck in the Chamber. It's going to be too RNG based, people lagging all over the place and whatnot. So we decided to separate things by region, but we didn't want to exclude any regions. So what we did was, when you go to pvplegends.com and you click register at the top, you'll see that we have Australia, New Zealand region, we have Latin America region, we have North America, and we have Europe. And we've also included Asia, but Asia is going to be with New Zealand and Australia. And the Middle East is even included, and they're in the European region.
Well, guys, if they want to find you guys personally on Twitter, where can they find you?
Okay, well, Farcog, you can find at Farcognitions.
For me, it will be Soul Bits.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping by today, talking about DCS, and giving us the rundown on sweats.
Yes, we are extremely excited for this. I feel like it is only the most logical step for the Destiny PvP world. Like, this is going to be where things go from here.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for having us. Honestly, it's been a blast. The pleasure, seriously, is all mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And hey, we'll see you at Guardian Con, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, looking forward to it, dude.
She speaks to me, my muse. Show her heart on fire. Show her soul consumed. Character of fear. To compliment the foresight. To know the end is near. Paint me a picture of a fear.
Okay, guys. Woof, what an episode. Been gearing up for it for like a week, and it still was just like hard to get through because there's so much going on. It's
a lot of thoughts.
Crazy that so much is going on, and it's great that so much is going on because we have stuff to talk about, which is always a plus. But all right, so final thoughts. Final hand signals. We both got 2 thumbs. We all got them. 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down,
Visual
1 each.
bits on a podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to say out loud. Remember, tell me what your thumbs are doing. Don't just hold them up, or else we're gonna just end on silence for too long. Birds, your thumbs.
Do Swain first.
Swain, your thumbs.
I'm gonna give it. It's very close to 2 thumbs. I'm gonna give it 1 up, 1 down. It's tough. It's tough to accept some of these changes right away, but I'm willing to give it the time to play it out and feel it out and see how things change over a course of a couple weeks, because it's happened before, and there just might be something that we're overlooking, or I'm gonna give it more time before I feel solid one way or the other.
Birdsy.
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. And the reason why is because the most important thing for me in the Destiny world is staying interested in Destiny. And I am nothing if not extremely interested in it. Like, I'm loving the chaos. I'm loving having to relearn some stuff, learning to play with a whole new secondary. And just the confusion and the excitement and the uncertainty I'm getting off on. 2 thumbs up for me.
All right. I give it a thumbs up on the left hand and a thumbs, like a 45-degree, almost up angle on the right. Because Birds, I'm with you 100% when you say it's interesting and it's new, and that's the best thing we could get. I just don't know if the special ammo change is my favorite, but hell, let's figure this out before the sequel comes out, right? Like, let's just see what happens when things change. Maybe that's not everyone's favorite, but like, at this point, man, like, let's just figure out what's up. Like, what happens when you do this? I like that, and I want this sequel to be just so fun that we're not talking about balance. Like, I just want to play a game and just like not talk about this at some point. So like, let's get there, man. We're on our way. It's a big step forward.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by, for listening through all of our thoughts on this.
For a straight up 2 hours.
Hey,
it's a hard stop by.
just hung out with us for a little while, and we appreciate it. And if you want to find us in any other way, whether it's to support us through Patreon, whether it's to check out our YouTube page where we're going to have a bunch of fun things happening.
Whether it's to call us fucking shills.
Yeah, if you just want to call me a shill, go to crucibleradio.com. Everything you could want and more is there. Love you guys. We will see you next week.
Yes, we will. Goodbye.
Bye.